You want to own a ranch, thousands of acres of open land, cowboys on horseback, and your own cattle grazing under a big sky. Movies and real estate listings design this exact picture to sell you a specific feeling of freedom. But look at who actually owns the largest tracts of the American West. Media mogul Ted Turner holds roughly 2 million acres. John Malone owns over 2 million. Jeff Bezos and Stan Kroenke hold massive parcels of their own. They aren't buying this land because selling beef is a lucrative standalone business. After sinking millions into raw dirt and livestock, a standard 500-head cattle operation might yield a return on investment of 0 to roughly 1.4%. A basic savings account pays more. So if the cash returns from selling calves are this thin, what do these ultra-wealthy buyers understand about the dirt that regular investors miss? A mega ranch functions as a tax-advantaged alternative asset. In this model, the livestock are not the primary product, but the mechanism that maintains the property's tax status. Wyoming land runs $1,000 an acre, while Texas costs up to $30,000. But the bargain vanishes. Wyoming needs 20 to 30 acres per cow. Texas needs 2 to 8. A 500-cow herd there demands 15,000 acres, drastically increasing your footprint. And buying the land only removes the for sale sign. A 15,000-acre ranch requires 60 to 80 miles of perimeter fencing, plus interior cross fences. Before you buy a single animal, you can easily spend $300,000 to $600,000 on wire and posts alone. Surface water is scarce out west, so you need deep agricultural wells at up to $25,000 each. Add miles of underground piping, solar panels to run the pumps, and heavy steel corrals capable of safely holding a 1,200-pound animal. A new owner on a raw property will easily burn through $500,000 to over $1 million in pure infrastructure costs. That is the minimum price of entry just to make the dirt operational. Next, you buy the inventory. Assembling a 500-head commercial herd, plus the necessary high-end genetic bulls that dictate your future payouts at the packing plant, costs up to $2 million. And unlike a warehouse of electronics, this inventory breathes, gets sick, and escapes. This exposes the structural flaw of ranch cash flow. When you sell cattle, you get paid in the fall, maybe once or twice a year. This heat map shows your balance sheet's reality. You face a relentless daily burn rate. Winter hay, veterinary emergencies, fuel, and labor hit your accounts every single day. Recent estimates place operating costs at over $1,059 per head per year. Those thin margins assume perfectly normal weather. In the American West, severe, multi-year droughts are a recurring feature of the landscape. When drought hits, the grass stops growing months early. You are forced to either buy emergency hay at double the normal price or sell off your income-generating cows at a loss, permanently destroying your production capacity. This is the volatility trap. Your expenses are incurred in real-time dollars, while your revenue is locked behind multi-year commodity cycles and completely unpredictable weather. As a pure cattle business, the ranch is inherently high risk. Let's look at a well-run 5,000-acre Texas ranch. In a strong market, your 200-cow herd might clear a net profit of $162,000. That barely makes a dent in the estimated $1.4 million of annual debt service on the land. Elite owners hedge this risk by treating their acreage as a multi-use platform. They lease out hunting rights for hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, or bale premium surplus hay from irrigated fields to sell to neighboring ranchers during dry summers. Many overlay a boutique hospitality model onto the property. They build comfortable cabins and charge guests substantial nightly rates for the authentic cowboy experience, completely bypassing the global beef markets. These secondary revenue streams don't replace the cattle, but they smooth out the cash flow, allowing the operation to absorb the inevitable bad years without selling off the dirt. But the most powerful financial tool in ranching requires no tractors and no rain. It's the conservation easement. This chart illustrates how it works. An owner agrees to permanently restrict commercial development on their property. In exchange, they claim a charitable deduction equal to the land's drop in market value. For qualified ranchers, this legally wipes out their federal income tax liability for up to 15 years. At the state level, running just enough cattle to maintain an active agricultural operation qualifies the property for an ag exemption. This slashes commercial property taxes on 10,000 acres down to a tiny fraction of the normal rate. And here is the final ledger. Even a modest 4% annual appreciation on a $35 million land purchase generates $1.4 million in paper wealth each year. That appreciation alone perfectly offsets the initial debt service. The cattle cover the overhead to hold the land. The wealth is generated by the land itself, through compounding appreciation and permanent tax shields. To thrive here, an owner was prioritized the ledger over the lifestyle.